There we are.
Hey guys, welcome to Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God. So we're doing a video, which I thought Mark was doing a video and I was sitting in, and he just told me that I'm doing the talking and he'll interrupt me if he wants to add something.
This is how it works in our house. I have projects and plans, and then as the day wears on, I struggle more, and then I don't do very well. So, why did we do this video? What's this video about?
It's about food.
Food. It's about food. I like food. A lot. In case you hadn't ever noticed before. Looking at some of the things we cook and some of the things we eat, I get very excited about food.
We all like food.
We all like food. I think God made us to like food.
Mm-hmm.
That's
well,
a good
we
thing.
need food because we need to sustain ourselves.
We certainly do.
And God has given us taste buds and lots of yummy things to eat. There's lots of yummy things mentioned in the Bible.
So does that mean that everything that tastes good is something we should eat?
No.
Oh.
And it's not, we should eat everything that tastes good in unlimited amounts.
Oh. I think that's probably why we're making this video, is because I'm really good at eating things, and I'm good at eating things in vast amounts. I'm very good at eating larger amounts. Now the thing is, it's really interesting because in your average meal, if we sit down to the table, I eat at a meal, on average, about as much as any of our children over the age of 2.
Our children are all big eaters.
They like to eat.
Like, if we go to someone's house, they all mention how our kids are big eaters. But our kids eat everything.
Right.
I mean, there's a couple things that they don't like. Like, Josiah doesn't really like zucchini.
But he'll eat it.
Virginia didn't used to like raw tomatoes. So, like, there's a couple things that are, like...
Not favorites.
Not favorites,
yeah.
but they'll still eat them.
Right.
But I don't have any kids who are, you know, I don't like vegetables or I don't like fruit. They like everything across the board.
And I've always been the same way. Like, I like a lot of food, like a lot of different foods. I like vegetables. I like them raw. I like them steamed. I like casseroles. I like all kinds of stuff. So recently, we've made some pretty dramatic changes in my eating. And I have to say, we've looked at multiple programs online. We've looked at Dr. Eric Berg?
Yeah.
That does the keto and
there's also
intermittent
a
fasting
Dr.
thing.
Enberg.
Really?
Like Enberg.
Oh.
So that's really confusing.
Okay.
I happened to find him by accident.
Well, I have watched some videos by Eric Berg, and he talks an awful lot about food and intermittent fasting and ketogenic diet and stuff like that. And we're not really following his plan. And we watched this other guy named Thomas DeLauer, maybe? He's
like
a
that.
big dude. He's like, built like a house, dude. And he talked about his transformation where he lost over 100 pounds. And while those are interesting, we're not really following his plan either. We watch an awful lot of videos, and then there's the couple that sits on TV and tells you what not to buy and what they like to eat, but that doesn't really seem to be terribly scientific or maybe as health conscious as we'd like to be, because we want to eat good food that God has provided to nourish our bodies. And so everybody that's been watching us for any period of time knows that I have had a lot of difficulty with my health. I've had a lot of injuries. I think it was back injuries and neck injuries that led to my original concussions and things like that gave me a lot of headaches and difficult times, and actually gained weight just because I was incapacitated for weeks and months sometimes at a time because of injuries. But in the interim, that's been a long time. I'm trying to think. I'm 6'4", so I have some excuse, and I am a large person, but when I used to compete in the Great Maine Lumberjack Show, when I would do exhibition timber sports, I was 238 pounds. And I haven't gotten any taller since then, so I don't really have any good excuse for having more weight. And then over the course of years, and I mean, this is before I was a Christian, and then since I've been a Christian, I don't believe I have weighed under 300 pounds for more than a couple months at a time. I've had some times when I've gone down due to different things, but I've been over 300 pounds for probably 25 years, 20 plus years. Not sure exactly how many years, but I turned 46 yesterday, so probably half of my adult life I've been over 300 pounds. I graduated high school, and I was only 6'1" back then. I did grow until I was quite a bit older, 20, 21 or something. 17 years old, I graduated high school at 182 pounds. And then years later, as an adult, 20 something, trying to think. Yeah.
You did grow some after high school, though.
I did. I grew 3.5 inches in height, and I grew 3 shoe sizes after high school.
Right. So a lot of people finish growing by the end of high school. So
right.
You did continue after that.
So given all my excuses, when I was like 23 or 24 years old, I wasn't getting any taller. My shoes weren't getting any bigger at that point. So I think I was done growing at age 21, 22. At the age 22, 23, at the Lumberjack show, I was 238 pounds. And I would say that was probably the most muscular, most energetic period I've ever had in my life. I was working 12 to 14-hour shifts at a very physically difficult job, and then packing up from there and going over to Lumberjack show and doing 3 or 4 hours of climbing up trees and chopping logs and throwing axes and all kinds of stuff like that. So in order to do 16, 17 hours a day of hard physical labor, I needed a lot of energy, and 238 was a very good weight for me. If you look at all the calculators online, they're like, oh, the optimum weight for somebody of your size and frame is like 188 pounds. No. If I could get down to 238, I would be a very, very happy man. So I started this last Monday, so a week ago today, and I was 307.6 pounds.
And what started it was we have a dear friend who has changed a lot of health issues by doing some different eating. And he had suggested Dr. Berg, he had suggested some other things. I think that they're doing what works for their family with some of the suggestions given by these people, but they're not following anything to a T.
Right, so none of this is strict protocol.
Right, we can't say do this program because that's not what we're doing. So with him, with help from him and his wife, we have kind of seen what he's doing.
Right.
They live out of state, so I can't go. Otherwise, I'd be like in her kitchen being like, what are you doing?
Maybe this winter we can do that, but not right now.
But he actually has been able to solve a lot of different health issues. I mean, he still has some, kind of like Mark, we're not expecting this to solve Mark's health problems. This brother was not expecting to solve his health problems, but some of them have been drastically reversed from what they were.
And he's lost 70 plus pounds in the process.
Yeah. So we started looking at these different things and started eating differently last Monday.
Last Monday was
Mark,
the beginning.
Specifically.
Just me.
Eating. As a family, we are eating differently to try to accommodate Mark not having a different meal every meal of the day. So like as a family, we're eating more salads. We've found a new soup recipe that we tried last night.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, that the kids added rice to for carbs. So like we're not doing anything.
The kids are basically eating very close to what they always ate, and you're able to eat anything as much as you want, whatever. I'm the only one limiting myself. And what's really interesting is people have mentioned to me the idea of intermittent fasting before, and I have laughed in their faces. So why don't you tell your story about how you got involved in intermittent fasting?
Okay, so I, with Uriah, had bad blood sugar numbers during pregnancy, so gestational diabetes. I had a diagnosis of it because I didn't go for the formal 1-hour test. I took my blood sugars at home. I do not react well to the sugar-sweetened drink that they give you. So with the permission of my midwives, I just got a glucometer. I already had one. And we checked my numbers a couple times a day. And we found out that my fasting numbers were a little high. And so I was looking at different things to do. And during that pregnancy, I ate less carbs. I did go visit the dietitian one time, but I didn't find their information super helpful. I found some stuff online that was a little more helpful. And so looking at what my body reacted to, how it reacted to raising my sugars with different foods, and what time of day was best for me to be able to eat carbs and when I had to not eat carbs, I was able to keep my blood sugars under control and not go on any medication during the pregnancy as long as I was watching my diet and exercise. Then, after I had him, and we had a good established nursing and all of that stuff, I started looking for ways to try to heal my body before another pregnancy, if God were to bless us with one. And I found information about intermittent fasting, which the idea of intermittent fasting is to limit the time of day that you eat. So for myself, I was waiting about 14 to 15 hours between when I would finish dinner at night and before I would have my breakfast the next day. And the time that you let your body rest gives your pancreas a rest, which allows it to be able to produce insulin better if you were to have another pregnancy. So I did it making sure very carefully that I was getting enough calories, my milk supply was staying up, all of those different things. And I was able to do it between pregnancies. And this time that I was pregnant with Malachi, this past pregnancy, I did also have gestational diabetes, but again was able to control it with diet and exercise, which if you've had gestational diabetes once, you're more likely to have it again, and it's harder to control each time, usually. So it was good that I was able to keep the numbers where I needed to. So I didn't...
And both babies been super healthy.
Yeah, and they weren't born overweight. We never had any sugar problems. Like their sugars were all normal after birth. And I didn't follow intermittent fasting exclusively. Like some people will say it has to be 18 hours, it has to be this. I was giving my body time to rest the pancreas, and I also was careful during the day to just not mindlessly eat. Make sure that the calories I was intaking were good calories and not just, oh, I see popcorn on the counter, I'm gonna eat popcorn. Am I actually hungry? Then I'll find something to eat. So I started that 3 years, a little less than 3 years ago, when Josiah, like after Uriah was born and a couple months old. So I mentioned it to him, and he's like, he'd always say, oh, you need to eat, you're hungry. Stop depriving yourself. Your body needs the food.
Right, you're depriving yourself. Even if you say you're not hungry, you're obviously really hungry. And so that was the mindset that I walked into this with, actually. I was thinking, well, I can cut carbs down. That's a good goal. I mean, I don't need nearly as much sugar and stuff that I tend to put in my body. I have written exclusively on that. I actually just published a little, 20-page booklet today about that. Just our thoughts about why did God make our bodies to run on food and give us taste buds and all that kind of stuff? How should we use it properly? And I have to admit that after a lot of years of not wanting to say so, I ate way too much food. And it wasn't like, no one watching me would have said, you eat too much. Because, again, I eat at your average meal less than our children. And I think a lot of my problem was, so I would wake up in the morning and have a cup of coffee and have breakfast with everyone. Probably within 2 hours, I would then have some sort of small snack. And then I'd have lunch, which was about the same amount as any of our children, maybe even a little less. And then I'd have a snack, probably about 2 or 3. And then sometimes I'd have a snack, before supper. Like when you're preparing supper and there's just a little bit of food laying around, just a little something. And then I would eat supper, of course less than the children. And then in the evening was probably my worst time, where I said, okay, so we get done eating dinner about 5:30, 6 o'clock. 7:30 I'd probably have a snack. And a lot of times, 8:30 or 9, I'd have another snack. Now, while my meals weren't that big, the snacks were mounting up, and she makes really good food for snacks. For dessert. I can't talk English. That's what's wrong with my brain. For a meal, she eats very good quality food. And she doesn't buy me a bunch of junk, so I have to go searching really hard to find junk. And even though I don't drive, Virginia sometimes has to take me to Walmart, and I'll sneak a bag of Skittles or a thing of chocolate in the cart. And it'll just be to share with everybody, and then nobody gets to share it but Daddy. So those are some of the ways in which I've found myself eating too much. So I said, I don't think I can do the intermittent fasting. I think it's way too much, way too soon. So what I really need to do is just cut down on snacks. So I thought about just cutting down on snacks. I said, okay, I can probably do that. I could probably cut out a mid-afternoon snack, but there's no way I could cut out the evening snack, because in the morning I'm always really, really hungry. So I need to have the evening snack so I'm not nearly as hungry in the morning. Although even when I had the evening snacks, I was really hungry in the morning. So that didn't work. So I said, well, I'll cut out. I'm just going to be a big boy, and I'm going to decide we have plenty of food for our meals, and I'm going to cut out snacks entirely. No snacks. So that was last Sunday night. I decided I'm not going to do snacks anymore for me at all. I'm just going to eat the meals, be set. Maybe I'll eat more with the meals, but it's healthier food, so that'll be better for me. So Monday morning I woke up and I was thinking I'll do some intermittent fasting if I feel like it. First day I'll try really hard. So I didn't eat breakfast Monday morning and I wasn't hungry. And I walked 6 laps on Monday morning, I think it was. So the road outside of our house is a cul-de-sac. Because of my neurological issues, I cannot walk by myself. So either Naomi or Virginia or Sarah has to walk with me because I periodically fall down or pass out or whatever from the dystonia and some other related stuff. You can look at our other videos for that. So I thought I wouldn't do well, but I felt great Monday morning. So I ate lunch and then I ate supper. And then I didn't have any snacks Monday night at all. I didn't have any snacks. And I woke up Tuesday morning thinking, well, I didn't eat any snacks last night. I haven't eaten since 5:30 last night. I'm probably going to be starving. I wasn't. And I went for a walk and I did 5 or 6 laps. And I still wasn't hungry. And then come lunchtime, I actually said, I'm not really hungry yet, but it's time to eat. I mean, I haven't eaten in like 18 hours now. I probably really ought to eat.
Well, we should probably preface this also with Mark is an all or nothing guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when he says,
we're going to try something,
it's like we have to go in gung-ho all the way. So he was like, I'm not hungry. I just shouldn't eat it all today. And I was like, no.
I think it was Tuesday before I said, maybe I could do like a 72-hour fast, no food.
He had barely been on this, like, thinking intermittent fasting for like 24 hours. And he's like, I could go like 72 hours.
I'm a man of determination. I'm also a man who has some pretty decent physical limitations. So I don't think it's wise for me to do the long-term fasts. But after a week, I've had 2 days that I only fasted for 15 or 16 hours, and did have a snack at night. One is my birthday the other night, and they made me something yummy, and I wanted to eat it. They only made it because I asked for it, but you made me something that was good for me, that was not packed with sugar and all that kind of stuff. It was good food, so it wasn't anything that was like, it wasn't like a bag of chips
but
or
it felt
a
like
box of cookies or something. It felt like a treat. Even though I wasn't really hungry. So I've kind of stopped eating when I'm not hungry, and that sounds like a stupid thing. It sounds so small. But if you've ever examined when you eat, do you eat according to a clock, or do you eat according to when you're hungry? And we do feed the whole family, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and they have snacks and stuff like that as needed, or as we feel like doing something nice for them, which is constantly. So they eat a lot. They eat a lot, yeah. But I have found that I'm really not hungry. It's a weird feeling, because when she was intermittent fasting, I was thinking she was crazy, and when I was thinking, when I would say, you need to eat because you're depriving yourself, I'm just not hungry, and I feel fine. I feel great. I'm energetic. I'm not sick. I feel great, but I'm not hungry. And I'm like, I can't. This it does not compute kind of deal. This doesn't make any sense to me. Now it makes sense to me, and so we're only a week in. I've lost 6 pounds, and I've lost, more importantly, an inch off my waist, which I'm not going to tell you how big my waist was right now, but it was large. If you've seen our videos, you know that anyway. I am still, over the course of this week, I have gone teetering up and down over 300 pounds. I was 307.6, I think, when we first measured me. I was down as low as 299.4 or something. The water weight changes throughout the course of a day. So at one point, I was really, really, well, I guess I probably wasn't wearing a lot of clothing when I did that weight, because I was really looking for something under 300. But when we did the weigh-in the other day, I was like 301 point whatever. So I lost 6 pounds. So from 307 to 301, that's our progress so far. And I have to say, I'm not hungry. And I have to say, I look at food differently. I still enjoy food. I still like it. I still look forward to meals. When you only eat 2 meals a day, you will look forward to meals, even if you aren't thinking about food very often. But we haven't changed much of what I eat. Like if we have rice or pasta on the side of something, I just don't eat that.
Yeah.
Like, I have cut down my carbs that way just because it's filling me up. It makes me bloated. It gives me gas or whatever it does. But I really don't need it.
What we've been changing is more that things aren't prepared all together. So like we had soup last night, and instead of adding rice to the soup, the rice was made on the side so people could add rice to their bowl. But the soup that we had was a new recipe, but it was something, I mean, the recipe was made, I saw a recipe and I tried to reproduce it with the food that was already in our fridge. Right. I didn't make any special trip to the store. So it's stuff we would have eaten, just combined in a different way.
Yeah, so beyond not being hungry, even though I'm only eating twice a day, so I'm not getting those insulin spikes with every single snack. You put food in your body reacts to it. It starts to digest and that kind of thing. So I've had some internal issues. Intestinal issues, I guess you could say.
Before this.
For years.
Yeah.
So I haven't noticed those nearly as much. Not saying it's like a cure, everything's fixed or everything's going to be perfect. That's not what
But this hasn't made it worse.
But it hasn't made it any worse, and I do feel good, and I do have, I would say, more energy eating less food, which I'm thinking differently now, and that's part of it, is I now look at food and I say, I want food to nourish my body. I want food to give me energy and strength so that I can do the things that God gave me to do, the things that God designed for me to do. Now, because of my neurological issues and things like that, I cannot work right now, and I cannot drive because that would be unsafe. So a lot of things I still can't do and I still struggle with. But maybe losing weight and eating well and being more healthy will help me with some of those things. And maybe it won't. We're content to just, if I can lose some weight and lose some inches, and be satisfied with less food and eat better quality food so that I have better nutrients, I'm satisfied with that. If I can lose some weight, that's great too. If I could ultimately be more healthy and be able to go back to work, that would be awesome. Or be able to engage more with ministry or help more with the kids or help more around the house, because a lot of times I really have hard days where I can't do a lot of that stuff. And you guys have seen the videos if you've watched our channel for very long. The Dystonia Life playlist has dozens of videos of me not walking, not talking, not moving, shaking like a leaf, incapable of speech and all that kind of stuff. And then there's some other ones where I'm a semi-normal person, as normal as I get. So I guess we just wanted to share a video to encourage, one, we haven't done a video in a while, and two,
there's been a lot of, while we've been trying to figure this out, if you've ever changed a diet in your home, I don't know, I had this kind of list when I would make a Walmart pickup order. You know, we need a box of eggs, we need a gallon of milk, we need this, we need this. Well, I'm trying to make sure that our meals are very well-rounded, that as a family we're getting more vegetables and things. So it's not the autopilot that I used to do. I mean, and we've always eaten lots of vegetables and everything. We're just trying to eat more fresh as opposed to canned, you know, those types of things. So it's just not, my mind has been on food. Mark's mind is trying to not think of food.
I'm trying to not think about food.
And my mind is thinking about food all the time to make sure that we have what we need. Which we do. Like, God has provided and we have what we need. It's just a matter of me remembering to, you know, take out this item to make sure it's thawed or whatever.
Because in one sense, it's a luxury that we as Americans can think about choosing what we want to eat and eating when we're not hungry. A lot of people in the world don't have that opportunity to eat when they're not hungry. Some people don't have the opportunity to eat when they are hungry. And so we are very privileged. We are incredibly blessed, even though a lot of society considers us like poverty level or whatever. We're doing pretty well. God has supplied for all of our needs and a lot more.
I can think through and say, would we rather have an Italian dish tonight or a Mexican dish tonight or a Chinese dish tonight? Like, I can think through those things. I don't have to say what we have in the cupboard is beans and rice, and I've got, like, we have options.
So we've thought differently, I think, the last few weeks and talked a lot more about food. And the first week I was plugging into this calculator, like how many carbs and how many fats and how many whatever it is. my taste buds have already started to change, I think. Because now I have a cup of coffee with a little bit of cream in it and no sugar at all. I used to put like 3 teaspoons of sugar in my coffee. I now put 0 sugar in my coffee. And I don't use an external sweetener. We bought one of those sweeteners thinking, oh, if we added this, that would substitute for... You know what? I don't need it. It has just changed how I think about food in my mind, but I think my taste buds have also begun to change.
He's also willing to not try things, but like you're eating things that you wouldn't normally have reached for before.
Yeah,
like
that I
last
normally
night
would have said,
lettuce.
Hey, I wanted a snack last night. And
it was his birthday. He had already said.
Yeah, it was my birthday. I didn't do a long intermittent fast last night. I only did 15 and a half hours. So before bed last night, I ate about half a head of lettuce. I had a little bit of ranch dip on like 2 leaves of it, and then I just said, I don't really care about that either. I just want to eat the lettuce. Now I just eat food.
But you never would have reached for a lettuce leaf before that.
No. No. I might have reached for a carrot, maybe, or some broccoli, possibly. But only if they were the only options or I felt guilty about something. But yeah, intentionally making the choice to change how you think about food, thinking about our bodies as the temple of the Holy Spirit, and we've been reading through 1 Corinthians, and as we're reading through that, it's very easy to apply all these things to someone else outside of your home or even someone else in your home. But then this idea, and what he was talking about, your body being a temple of the Holy Spirit, was like, don't worship idols. He wasn't talking about not eating snacks, but I really felt like I know that I eat more than I need to, and I know I can make changes, and I know there's a lot of things in my life because of my health and my dystonia that aren't within my control, and I can't change them, but there's a couple things that are, and one is what I choose to eat and when I choose to eat. So what I choose to eat is a lot less carbs, a lot more salads and nutrient stuff, but I'm also getting meat, which I love meat, and cheese and all kinds of goods, and I still have my coffee and cream. I just don't put the sugar in it, and I'm happy with that. I'm satisfied with that.
If you had told him 2 weeks ago he'd be happy with that, though?
No way. So then also the timing thing. I never thought it would be true of me that I would eat lunch at 11:30 and then dinner at 5 or 5:30 and nothing else. I couldn't have imagined that. Even a week ago when we started this, I thought maybe I'm just on some sort of a high because I just started a new diet, I'm feeling good and I'm motivated. It's a week later and I feel the same way. I feel fine. Like I've had tired days like I always do. And I've had these seizures and things like that I always do. But I'm not hungry, and I'm not weak any differently than I normally would be. In fact, I think I'm more energetic and more lively.
And he's not plugging it into a calculator anymore, but we know that he's getting enough calories and those types of things. Yeah. So don't think he's starving himself.
No, I'm getting everything I need. I'm satisfied. Like the meals that I eat a rounded plate full of salad with meat and sour cream sauce or something like that on top.
Usually our lunch meal is eggs and veggies and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I will now routinely sit and eat a whole cucumber and a whole tomato, and those are things that I might have grabbed a slice of here and there before, but I wouldn't have intentionally gone and grabbed for it. But I'm very happy to have a couple of eggs with some cheese on it and a little salt and pepper.
And he's finding some snacks that are things he wouldn't have normally gone for or would have added sugar to.
Right. So I don't need that anymore.
Frozen berries with a little bit of cream on top.
Yep. Normally I would have added a large spoonful of sugar.
Because he likes ice cream, like fruity ice cream.
Yeah.
So just like triple berry frozen mix with cream on top.
Yeah. It still has carbs, still has sugars. It's still fruit. I still like it. But I don't need it to be additionally sweet on top of that. So that's kind of a huge thing for me. So I guess the reason we made the video is to tell people, what we've been not talking about for the last week or two.
That's why our grocery hauls have looked different and funny, but we haven't said anything because we didn't want Mark to feel pressured by telling you guys that he was doing this to then feel like he was doing it.
We also intentionally didn't follow Dr. Berg's diet or Thomas LaFleur or whatever his name is. We intentionally are not following some diet with a name attached to it so that you don't get to, well, Dr. Berg doesn't allow for this, that, or the other, or this person doesn't do this. Now, one thing I do drink in between is not sweet, but I do have like a quart jar of water with a little bit of lemon juice, a little apple cider vinegar. I think I got that idea from him, but we've gotten that idea from other people before.
We've done that before.
I've always done it previously with maple syrup or sugar or something in it, and I found I don't need that. I don't want it. And I'll sip on that, you know, a big glass of ice and water and put a little bit of that in there, and I think it probably does help some with the appetite. So that's the only thing I have between meals anymore, and I'm very satisfied with that, and I feel good. So part of it was to tell people what's going on here, and then the other part is to say, what do you need to do? What do you need to change? Is there something that you're doing that you need to change? And I'm not going to tell you what that is because it's none of my business, and I don't know you guys. But what I was writing earlier today was actually something I wrote a long time ago, and I just put it together and published it today because it was, the more we look at the Word of God, the more we look at what God designed us to be and how He designed our bodies to work, the more I realize that it's very easy to fall into bad habits, to pick up traditions that you learn from your parents or your grandparents or whatever it is.
Dessert every night.
Yeah, ice cream for dessert every night. Or you need, if you have a bowl of bowl of cereal, you have to put sugar on top of it. Or if you had blueberries and milk, you have to put sugar on top of it. That's what I always understood. And I find that isn't necessarily true. I'm not saying those things are evil even. I'm just saying for me, I don't need that in my body. I don't need those additional things to satisfy my appetite or to keep me in good nutrition or energy or that kind of thing. So yeah, I think to some extent it's also, this video isn't just about food and about losing weight and about diabetes and intermittent fasting and stuff like that. I think it's also about just self-control, which, as we've talked about a lot lately, it's a fruit of the Holy Spirit. It's something that God works in His people, and something that in at least this area, I feel like I lack that. So I prayed about it, and I studied some stuff about it, and we talked about it, and now we've made changes. And so you guys can pray for us, and pray for me especially, that I'll continue to have self-control, not in just this area, but in a lot of areas. Just being quick to be angry about something, or having patience, or whether it's, well, I'd like to buy this thing, but we don't really need it. There's so many ways in which we need to exercise self-control every day, and how we talk to each other, and how we spend our money and our time, and what TV shows we allow ourselves to watch, and so many other things. And that's just one of the fruits of the Spirit, is that the God, as He works in the hearts of His people, He changes our desires and makes them more like Christ, and makes them, it works holiness in us to change us from people that just satisfy our fleshly desires to people that are thinking spiritual thoughts and are thinking about the spiritual more than the natural. And so I guess that's all I really wanted to say. What else?
Also, in everything that we've said, we're not trying to push any type of diet or anything on anybody, because everybody has different dietary needs.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people who feel really good on like a ketogenic type diet.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't.
Right.
Some people do different types of things. Maybe your body is more of this. Maybe because of your lifestyle, you need certain stuff. Oh, we're gonna have a new recording.
It's okay.
So maybe your body needs different things. There's just this isn't a one size fits all, and we're not trying to promote any certain thing.
Do everything you do to the glory of God. If you can put sugar on your cereal to the glory of God, you go for it. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's sinful. We're not eating all organic, all grass-fed, like we can't afford that stuff, or if we could, I don't know if it's the best use of our resources.
And our kids are still having treats once in a while and stuff, so this isn't this is just as a family, we're trying to eat meals a little bit differently so that we can help Daddy. But this isn't a go out and buy all organic and grass-fed meats and all that.
I don't care if you ever try intermittent fasting for yourself. I don't care if you stop eating carbs or eat a ton of carbs. And there's so many diets and there's so many fads that go around, and they're always touting the latest science behind them. I would just say exercise self-control in the area of food and how you use your body. Some people exercise too much. They're workout freaks. and they neglect their families so that they can get their workout in. And I think that's wrong too. But some people neglect their bodies and taking care of themselves and eating well because they want to spend all their time with their family, so they buy a bunch of, McDonald's and fast food kind of stuff and a bunch of stuff that probably isn't very good for you. And again, my booklet talks an awful lot about that, and it doesn't mention any food specifically. It's almost entirely my own struggle, the things that I know are not good for me, the things that I used to put into my body that are not food, that are not nourishing, that are not helpful. And so I just, sorry, I need to tell a kid off camera to stop doing something. So we're going to wrap up. But anyway, that's what's going on. I'm losing weight and feeling great, and I'm getting a little smaller, and hopefully this will continue. I plan to continue my end of things. That doesn't guarantee you're going to lose 6 pounds every week. In fact, you won't lose 6 pounds every week. If you lose 2 pounds a week on any diet or exercise plan, you're doing pretty well, I think. From what I understand. I'm talking to my doctor next week. I have an appointment, and we'll talk more about specifics of what we're doing and things to avoid. And we've talked to people who understand these things. So, I'm under the care of multiple physicians, and we're doing everything we need to do. But I think we're doing a pretty decent job. I wish I'd have thought of it sooner. Like, if somebody had told me years ago, maybe I would have. No, actually, I wouldn't have, because that's the problem. Self-control, hard-headedness. Husbands, love your wives and listen to them.
This will make them feel like a nag.
Yeah. She's never nagged me at all. She just tells me what she's doing. And they're like, hey, this works great for me. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm stupid and I like what I like, so I'm not going to listen to you.
Also, if you have any helpful comments of things that you think, a new recipe we'd like to try, something like that. But also know we are, like we said, we are not specifically following anyone's plans. So don't say, well, you're breaking the rule because you're having cream in your coffee or whatever. We're going to delete those comments because we just don't have time for those. Yeah.
No argumentation. No yelling at me in my comments. My video, if you don't like it, don't watch it. That's fine.
And he's doing a great job.
Yay, me. Yay. I don't even know what that was. But.
So, thank you for joining Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God today, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.